Chris Scalzo here with,
Ow.
and featuring super special guest,
JC from the Screen Fix podcast.
So JC, we're very excited to have you. I actually just recently guested on your show, and I want you to describe what that's. I can't wait for that to drop because I was able to cut loose a little bit and really basically sabotage your show as much as possible. So
you tried to sabotage, and we had to get a little rough, a little physical. But everything worked out. I think it ended up good. I mean, we'll see how much of what you said actually makes it into the show. But sure, yeah, whatever.
I'm assuming that's what it'll be. I'll end up cut almost entirely from the thing. But please tell us about your show. I think it's a fantastic idea. It's a lot of fun. So why don't you share a little bit about it?
Yeah, so basically we take a recent film, something that usually is being talked about, and we will fix it. Our guests come on. Usually it's me, co-host the Lady Juan, and we usually have somebody from another podcast, and we will essentially give our fixes for the movie. It's just like when you get out of a movie and you're like, you know what I would have done? It's just like that, but in a podcast format, you know.
No,
with a bunch of know-it-alls.
It's a lot. Well, you're in the right place. So we're very excited to have you. This week on The Big Show, we are going to discuss the Safdie brothers' latest trip to hell, Uncut Gems. Marvel, as Adam Sandler attempts to negotiate the repercussions of all the worst decisions a human can possibly make. I'll share my thoughts of Greta Gerwig's adaptation of Lisa May Alcott's Little Women, featuring really an all-star ensemble cast. We'll also spend a few minutes talking about The Souvenir, an Amazon Prime pick right now that we're currently arguing about who is responsible for making that decision. We'll tell you what's coming up on Blu-ray and DVD this upcoming Tuesday, and then finally we're going to wrap up the big show by discussing what we think are our 10 most anticipated films of 2020 for the first half, January through June. So I'm
ready.
Are you sure? You got your seatbelt on? Everybody good?
Yep.
Yeah,
my
seatbelt's on.
Roaring out of the gate. All right, let's hear a clip from Uncut Gems.
I see you out there when the stadium's all booing you. You're 30 up, you're still going full tilt. Let's see what does Vegas got you guys at tonight? Take a look. Let's see.
Are you serious? You're going to put us up right here?
Look at this. The Sixers are supposed to win the game tonight, they think.
We don't keep track of none of that.
They think Game 7 you're not going to get 18 points. They don't think you're going to get 8 rebounds?
These guys don't know about that.
What the do they do? Doesn't that make you want to kill them? Doesn't that make you want to say doubting me? Doesn't that make you want to step on Elton Brand's neck? Come on, KG. This is no different than that. This is me. All right? I'm not a athlete. This is my way. This is how I win.
And what's weird is the whole movie's like that, where it's actually beeped throughout the entire thing. It makes it very difficult to follow. So
was it?
So what's really fascinating, and actually a mutual friend for both of us, JC, James Baker of Pop Cult Net, he posted this too on Twitter. Yeah, and I'd read this earlier as well, that this is the 7th most, or uses of the F word of any film in history. And if you take out 3 of them, which are documentaries about profanity, then it's like number 3. So, and that's a lot of F words, kids. So you're not going to bring Graham out of this one. But Matt, I'm going to hand it off to you as always. What is Uncut Gems all about?
Sure. So Adam Sandler plays Howard Ratner. He is a compulsive gambler, owns a jewelry shop in New York City. He gets his hands on a rough, uncut black opal from Ethiopia. He then decides to lend it to Kevin Garnett or have it stolen by Kevin Garnett and make some bets that he can't afford since he's already neck deep in money to various loan sharks.
So let me ask you, gentlemen, and we'll start with you, JC. Is Uncut Gems is it possibly the Safdie brothers' best film, or is this just one profanity-laden disaster?
I don't think it's profanity-laden disaster, but I will tell you that I enjoyed Good Time better. This movie, like, I understand what people say about, it's claustrophobic and you feel anxiety and all that, but that's because the whole movie is like medium shots and close-ups. Like you can't, you're like in a constant state of confusion and claustrophobia, and I don't know if that's hiding that the movie's worse than it is, or if it's truly some kind of claustrophobic manic masterpiece. I do think that Adam Sandler is just kind of doing a toned down Sandy Wexler, which his Netflix movie. So it's basically like rated R Sandy Wexler if Sandy Wexler had a gambling problem. Also, I couldn't get over the fact that he kind of looks like a schlubby John Turturro the whole movie. And I was kind of wondering how much better this movie would have been if John Turturro was in the lead role. Don't get me wrong. I love that Adam Sandler is in this, and he was branching out and doing something good, which was actually the only reason why the whole theater was packed when I went to see it. It was Adam Sandler. It was nothing to do with Safdie brothers. The reason why that theater was packed when I went to see it was Adam Sandler. And I will tell you that in that movie, somebody in my row walked out, and after the movie, there were audible boos.
Really?
In my screening, yes. And I don't think anybody walking out was particularly happy with what they just saw. But I am pretty sure that out of that entire pack theater, and it was full, that I bet none of them had ever seen a Safdie Brothers film before, save for maybe 5 nerds that were in there.
Interesting. I think so. You think they were in there for like Big Daddy 3 or like an Adam?
They were looking. They were looking for grown-ups with a gambling problem, and that's not what they got at all. I don't even know what I wanted out of it. I saw Good Time, and I'm like, okay, Safdie Brothers films are like lowlifes who you end up kind of rooting for, but they're terrible, and in the end, they kind of get their just desserts. They don't succeed ever, and that's what this was too. I guess I thought it had good production design if super tacky was what they were going for, but I mean, but everybody was tacky, so that is what I think they were going for. You know what, like as far as filmmakers that are in control of their craft, sure, if you want to see an anxiety inducing oversaturated movie that is not going to please you in any way, you see Uncut Gems.
I don't know. Yeah, I think that's it. What's funny is I have similar thoughts as you, but I have a much bloomier or sunnier opinion of the film. Matt, what are your thoughts about Uncut Gems?
This is why I love it when guests are coming on, because then we always see Chris always tells me I'm wrong. Like he's like, "No, you're absolutely wrong." When I say something else, and when we have a guest, it's like, "Oh no, Chris, you're in the minority here." Because
you know what? Because Matt, we're normal people.
That's very true. That's very true. Okay, so I concur with JC. I much preferred Good Time to this. And I think your mileage is going to really be based on how much you can tolerate the character that Adam Sandler is playing. I think at one point, Idina Menzel in the film tells Howard, "You were the most annoying person I've ever met," and that it was. Yes. This was the most grating performance. I hated everything about Howard. Like I couldn't stand the fact that he was this degenerate gambler, and it just drove me crazy. Like I wasn't rooting for him at all through this whole thing, whereas I couldn't say that about Robert Pattinson in Good Time. And I just, it's one of these things where I can appreciate the craft that went into this. I can appreciate all the talent of everything everybody was going on, but I never want to watch this movie again. It was just so interminable because I just hated everything that was going on in it. I just could not stand the characters or anybody in it.
But you're able to balance out the fact that that's the point, right? That's what the Safdie brothers are presenting to us. This is no way a mistake on their part. This is exactly the story they're trying to tell. It's claustrophobic, it's nihilistic, and it is absolutely committed to it. For me, it felt like I was going straight down the dark portion of Space Mountain for basically 135 minutes, like the entire time, wondering what the hell was going to happen next. Now, I love that kind of stuff.
I mean, I get that that's the point, but I can sit down and like read American Psycho, and that's the point of that. But I didn't have fun reading that book, and I would never read it again, even though I know what they're doing.
This isn't even Adam Sandler's best like anxiety movie. Punch Drunk Love is his best anxiety movie.
Sure, way better.
I agree.
Will you shut up! Shut up! Shut up!
Oh!
I say keep that.
Am I on the Howard Stern show? What is happening right here?
Exactly. No, listen. I'm happy to see Sandler return to a more dramatic role as well. I get that he's basically cashed in and he's going to be churning out these films for Netflix. I'm not sure. I'm assuming he has some kind of weird Vegas residency thing where he's going to be there for the next 40 years. But
Netflix is his Vegas residency.
Exactly. But I really enjoyed how even the score of this film keeps you off kilter, right? Off balance the entire time. I also, is this an Oscar-worthy performance? I don't know. I don't think so. I think what it is, this is one of those things. So Matt, sometimes we call it the training day thing, right? Where the performance is better than the movie itself. I think this is kind of the exact opposite. I think the Safdie brothers' assembling of this film works and everything works and clicks perfectly. But if I were to take one thing out at a time, I'd probably hate it. And I don't. So I don't know. I really enjoyed this ride while I was on it. I felt uncomfortable the entire time. I think just like JC, you were saying, you're just kind of squirming a bit in your seat. I mean, Gaspar Noé would, I think, really be proud of this thing. So after a year of kind of fantastical stories and superhero films and sequels, I kind of appreciated getting down and dirty in a movie for a little while. I mean, it somehow, I think, really kind of captures almost the spirit of the 70s New York City. Back when it had all the, the drugs and the dirt, how dirty it was, and the porn theaters, and just how it was terrifying to go into New York. I think it somehow was able to reclaim that from Disney. Sorry?
This wasn't a 70s movie, though. It took place in, just a couple years ago.
Right, but I like that it's kind of able to capture that kind of spirit, though.
But that's not New York now.
No, it's not, unfortunately. Or fortunately, unfortunately? I don't know. I'm a deviant, is what I'm saying, is basically what I'm trying to confess.
Yeah. I'm going to find the one block that's still seedy like the 70s in New York and just live in that. Live in that dumpster.
What do you guys think about some of the unanswered questions we have, too? Particularly, I think, Julia Fox's fate and the money. Do you have any issues kind of where that was kind of left up in the air? And do you have any suspicions as to what's going to happen? We usually, JC2, try and avoid spoilers as much as we can.
Oh, crap. Okay. I think, let's just say, I think if knowing that this is a Safdie brothers movie.
Does she get a sequel? Uncut Gems 2?
She doesn't get...
Fox on the Run?
Yeah, I'm trying to think of a good Uncut Gems pun, but I can't. I'm trying to just think about tropes, not tropes, but like common themes in Safdie brothers movies. And I feel like in Good Times, the kind of slow, dim-witted brother kind of made it out of the situation okay. Mm-hmm. So I wonder if that's something that they like to explore, that the kind of innocent who's pulled into it ends up okay. So I don't know. In my brain, I want her to end up okay with the money. In real life, I could totally see her just suffering a terrible fate. In my brain, though, I want her to get away with it.
Yeah,
because that will be that shady asshole's one good thing that came out of his disgusting business dealings.
You do kind of need one just small shaft of light, right? To kind of just to reach out to. Matt, do you have what about you? What did you think about do you have any other unanswered questions perhaps of the film? Any thoughts about Julia?
No, not really. I mean, I didn't really care enough to kind of pose out there what was going on after the film, but I can see this. I mean, Julia knows people. She knows The Weeknd. I mean, she can't just disappear off the face of the earth.
That's a good point.
Howard's father-in-law must be really loaded because he's driving around in a Rolls or a Bentley or something like that. And she, saw all the face of everybody. In fact, multiple people saw the people who he was dealing with. So I think it's pretty much cut and dry. I think she's going to be fine, whether she keeps the money or not. Maybe she splits it with Dinah in Idina Menzel. Who knows? I don't know. But I somehow feel like this is almost like upbeat ending, about as upbeat as it can possibly be for the principals that are still around.
That's true. That was about as positive as the ending could be, I guess, given everything that went on.
That's right.
But weren't you just a little bit being like, oh, is he gonna get away with this or like what?
Well, yeah, I mean,
I hate this guy.
he escapes the consequences of his actions almost every single time because he can't diverge from who he truly is, and in the end, things maybe don't work out to his advantage, or at least how he hopes. But yeah.
Yeah, I don't think there's a maybe in there. I don't think it works out the way he hopes.
Yeah, no.
Spoilers, guys.
Exactly. We're trying to, yeah. Clearly, I enjoyed it much more than you two gentlemen. I'm really interested to see where these letter grades come down. But before we do that, did you have any final thoughts on the gems that are uncut?
I'm somewhere between the person who booed at the end of the movie and you. Like, I appreciate what's going on in this. Okay, the Safdie brothers, they really have come up through the New York film scene just by continuing to make movies. Let's just make movies. Let's just make movies. Finally landing a star like Pattinson and then having the brilliant idea to cast Sandler as Sandy Wexler, rated R. But, so yeah, I mean, I'm going to give it an A for effort, but I'm going to give it a C for...
execution?
This movie's going to go away. I don't think this is a cult classic or anything like that. I think it's just that one weird Sandler movie. And if you want to watch a weird, serious Sandler movie, I would recommend you go watch Punch Drunk Love. I keep on saying Punch Drunk, which is weird. Go watch Punch Drunk Love. Way better, serious Sandler movie.
So you said an A for effort, but I don't get a second. Do you want to just, or are you thinking C? So do we just?
Well, that's
mellow
I
out
actually
it
said
as a B?
C for
C. You did say.
For how much enjoyment that I'm actually going to get out of this, or the staying power of this movie. I'm sure it's on everyone's best of list because it's claustrophobic, slick, oversaturated indie stuff. But I don't think it's that great of a movie.
I think I'm being personally attacked right now, Matt.
I really hate oversaturated movies. They're just gross looking.
I feel emboldened by JC here. I'm gonna give this a C plus, and I was prepared to argue with you about it for an hour, but we see that you're the odd man out here. This movie's incredible.
All right, so
I appreciate what it does, but no,
I'm still unclear. Maybe it's the alcohol. So, JC, you're giving this a C in the end, or is it an A and a C, which equals a B?
Okay. I'm gonna give this one a C plus. Was actually a very good score by Matt. I'm gonna give it a B minus just to be really nice because I want to ingratiate myself to the podcast here.
All right. Well, you're both wrong. This is,
of course, we are.
I think this is one of the better films I've seen all year, and now I've been handing them out like candy, Matt.
I know you have been. Guys, I was going through our grade to kind of start working on my best of the year list, and just to see the amount of A's and A minus that Chris gave out, I'm really curious to see what comes up.
Because you got another one, baby.
But does Chris notoriously like everything or notoriously not like everything? No,
he doesn't necessarily notoriously like anything, but he'll die on these weird hills. Like he'll like, he'll argue with me about like, okay, so for instance, like I had fun at Alita Battle Angel, but we gave it the exact same score, but it felt like I was having to justify it, whereas Chris was arguing about it. But this is the same guy who argued that Batman versus Superman was like a B film or something like that for months.
I corrected that. I gave in on BVS after some time being removed from it. And you liked Alita better than I did.
We both gave it a B minus. That was a B minus, meaning that I enjoyed it, whereas I don't know why you gave it a B minus since you talked so bad about it while we were watching.
Well, like I said, it felt like the whole thing felt like a 2.5 hour prequel, like a setup for another movie that's not likely never going to come. Anyway, Uncut Gems is getting an A minus from me. It is one of the best films of the year. We'll see how everything shake out in a couple weeks when we do our top 10s. As clearly, I think I have 30 A films to choose from out of the 50 or 60 we watched. Either way, if you've had a chance to see Uncut Gems, shoot us an email at feedback@thefirstrun.com. Next up, I am going to spend a few minutes discussing Little Women, and we'll see if anybody else has anything to say about it. Let's hear a clip.
I've always known I would marry Rich. Why should I be ashamed of that?
There's nothing to be ashamed of, as long as you love him.
Well, I believe we have some power over who we love. It isn't something that just happens to a person.
I think the poets might disagree.
Well, I'm not a poet. I'm just a woman. And as a woman, there's no way for me to make my own money. Not enough to earn a living or to support my family. And if I had my own money, which I don't, that money would belong to my husband the moment we got married. And if we had children, they would be his, not mine. They would be his property. So don't sit there and tell me that marriage isn't an economic proposition, because it is. It may not be for you, but it most certainly is for me.
So that, of course, now we talked last week. In fact, we had Adam Driver Fest 2019. Well, if there's another actor, Matt, who I think had a huge year, it's Florence Pugh. And you just heard her as Amy in Greta Gerwig's adaptation of the classic novel by Louisa May Alcott, Little Women. So if you're not familiar with the story, because I'll confess, I haven't seen any of the prior cinematic adaptations and I haven't read the book. But the story focuses around four sisters at the middle of World War, the Civil War, one of those. It's a war. I don't keep track. And all the different challenges and relationships that they have amongst their friends, themselves, their partners, their parents, and everything. And I have a few thoughts I'd like to share about it. But is there anybody else in the room who had like to say anything?
I refuse to watch this because I've never read Little Women. I've never seen any adaptation. I was looking to keep that streak alive, so I'm glad you took one for the team and watched it for me.
Coward. JC?
I've never seen Little Women. I have seen a movie called Big Men. The reason why I didn't really want to see this has been done so many times. There are no less than 6, at least, film versions of this. There are at least... There's at least 3 TV versions. There's ballets, there's operas, there's Broadway plays. Like this, why Greta Gerwig would have chosen this tired property as her follow-up to Lady Bird is very strange to me. But I did not see it. However, don't tell anyone. Like a good podcasting partner, my co-host on Screenfix podcast, Lady Juan, she wrote me up a little something so it will seem as if I've seen the film, okay? I haven't read this yet, so I'm going to read this to you here, okay?
This is going to go great.
Don't tell your listeners.
Okay.
Yeah, I did see this movie. Let me tell you about it. I'm JC, the lesser half of Screenfix podcast, a show carried by the Lady Juan. Oh, this is going to go well. In my opinion, Lady Bird was one of the best movies of the decade. It was the first coming-of-age story where I truly felt represented. So hearing that Greta Gerwig and Saoirse Ronan would be teaming up to tell one of my favorite childhood stories and true feminist text to Little Women was something I would not be missing. Saoirse is a perfect Jo, wild and emotional, full of ambition and fire. Timothée Chalamet was born to play the 19th century fuckboy we all love to hate, Laurie. The cast and performances were sincere and beautiful, especially the relationship between Jo and Beth. I found myself beginning to quietly cry as Jo told Beth she would stop the tide when she takes her to the sea to fight off scarlet fever for the second time. When Jo came downstairs to Marmee at the empty table, following a flashback to Marmee feeding a strengthened Beth from her first bout with the fever, tears ran down my face. Sweet Beth, as Jo said. She was the best of us. While I was thrilled to see a talented female director tell us this tale of women's relationship and emotions, I was a bit disappointed with the film's emphasis on Amy. As someone who has always seen themselves as a Jo, a passionate writer who was never the prettiest or best behaved, I wanted the story to be focused on Jo as much as the novel, and the 90s version does. But it seems like Greta Gerwig fell for Florence Pugh's charm and beauty, the same way Fred Vaughn and Laurie fell for Amy's. She's enchanting and charismatic even when she's being spiteful and burning Jo's novel, and the movie finds itself bending to Amy's whim, just as life always seemed to. The film was a standout performance for Pugh, but Amy always gets everything she wants. I didn't want her to get this in the movie as well. And that's my take on that's JC's take on Little Women.
Thanks, JC.
It's very thoughtful and reasoned. I'm very impressed.
It's kind of touching too. I'm impressed.
Saw it totally. Saw it.
I'm going to help out Matt with my thoughts about Little Women. So, are you ready? Here we go.
I'm ready.
I'm gonna try and bro it up for you. All right.
Okay, please do.
Yeah.
So we know that JC's a Joe.
Yeah, tiny shorties.
So you got these chicks, right? And this now I haven't seen any of these movies before. All right, so it's kind of though it's endearing and clever. Though they're all kind of hanging out and getting to know each other. They're sisters, so they know each other, and they both. Sisters too. A couple of them like the same guy. You know, what are you gonna do? So, and then there's another one. She's really cool, but she's actually Hermione, right? She plays Hermione in the Harry Potter movies, and she meets a nice kind of teacher guy, and they kind of fall in love, but they got no dough, they got no cash, right? So what are you gonna do?
Nah, they broke.
And then they got you got the fourth sister, and she's always sick all the time. Anyway,
yeah.
One thing that Gerwig does here, she kind of messes with the narrative structure, right? She makes it, which I kind of felt made it a more engaging experience. I read that somewhere. And
confuses me.
She interweaves past moments and their direct impact on present events, and I kind of found that cool. So, and there's another little tell too, because since it jumps back and forth through time. Wow, what the hell is that? Gerwig's palette is warm and lush when we're talking about the memories, right? And then other times,
I like things that are warm. You know,
it gets a little cool when we're in present day. And let me tell you one thing: that there are some gorgeous shots in this film, just like the ladies. All right, there's some truly beautiful pictures
shots
in this thing. They're doing shots too, right? Exactly.
Yeah, like green tea shots. Yeah.
So Yorick LaSalle, he just did the he's a cinematography or something. He takes the pictures. It does a great job. And he's got an eye, that one. I'm talking like Oscar possibilities with this guy, right? That's how beautiful this thing was. It was heartbreaking and truly joyous in moments. It really hit me here.
Brought a tear to my eye, let me tell you.
And and Florence Pugh, I think, continues to shine. I think she outshines that Saoirse Ronan chick who plays Jo. So there's some stellar performances all around with a special nod to Laura Dern, and I gotta give it to him, Chalamet, who is actually quite good. And one weird thing is that Bob Odenkirk shows up in this thing, and it throws the whole thing kind of out of whack for me. Because that's, God damn it, that's Bob Odenkirk, but still.
Oh my God, it's the lawyer from Breaking Bad.
Exactly. So basically, I want to tell you, don't be scared, bros. This is a movie even the guys can appreciate. And it just, if a little tear escapes, just kind of, it's dirty, it's dusty in the theater. So cut yourself some slack.
So you're saying we can watch this after we go to the gym, go home after the tanning salon and pluck each other's eyebrows? We can watch Little Women is what you're saying.
Basically, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Gym, tan, and Little Women is what my...
Well, thank you. I understand it. I completely get it now. Thank you. Putting it in that, speaking my language.
Putting in Jersey Shore? Yeah, that's your language?
That's right. Yep, that is my language. Yeah, I didn't understand the film before then, but yeah, now I get it. Thank you.
Matt, I'm telling you, man, this actually was quite... I am not familiar with any of the property at all, right? As I said, I haven't read or seen any of this stuff before. And it really was... It's a beautiful film. I absolutely loved it. In fact, I gave it an A. Surprise, because that's what I do is I hand out A's like popcorn.
Mm-hmm.
But
you know what? You're actually the best person to see this because you're not familiar with it at all. So you went in completely fresh. So you're looking at it just on its own.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas I'm sure a lot of people go into it being like, okay, like a really good adaptation of this came out in the 90s with Winona Ryder.
Right.
And it was very well received. And there's been a million versions of this. You're going in just looking at this one for what it is. So you're able to give a completely unbiased review of it.
Exactly. And I absolutely loved it.
I wonder if Greta will do the whole trilogy, do the whole Joe trilogy.
Maybe.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's Little Men and then there's Joe's Boys, which are actual real books. I'm not making that up.
No, I understand.
There's also Joe Mama.
Yes, that's the underappreciated fourth one.
Wow. Okay, I think it's time to wrap this up. You can actually read Lady Wan's review at filmdocinema.com.
That's right. Does anybody get that reference, Film Do Cinema? That is the that's the way that Jiffrinson from Bowfinger says that when he's trying to get the part in the movie. He goes, yeah, I attend the Film Du Cinema annually, biannually. It's so funny, and so we just took that little tidbit because I love that scene with Jiff in Bowfinger, and and grab that for a great film blog.
Check it out, folks. It's actually quite good. And her review is it's well written, and I enjoyed it. I haven't not seen Bowfinger since it came out in the theater.
It is, go back and revisit Bowfinger. You will not regret it.
We'll have to do that.
So good.
So if you had a chance to see Little Women, shoot us an email at feedback@thefirstrun.com. If you want more bro reviews, let Matt know. He was very excited about that whole segment.
I was.
And then let's take a couple minutes, and we'll tell you what's coming up on home video this upcoming Tuesday, January 7th. I'll tell you one thing. It's a Blu-ray that I have been waiting years for. And JC, it's a movie I brought up during my recent visit to the yet unreleased Screen Fix pod that I'm assuming I will be cut out of. But let's go ahead and hear a clip.
Kara told me you know where M's at.
Uh-huh. And why are you looking for M?
She asked for my help.
Uh-huh. Well, listen, man, I got plenty on my plate without dealing with some jilted ex.
It's not about that.
Well, whatever it's about, act smarter than you look and drop it.
Where's she at?
You better get while it's good. Heal it now, dig?
Throwing at me if you want, Hashhead. I got all 5 senses, and I slept last night. That puts me 6 up on the lot of you. It's easy, bro.
So that is a clip from Ryan Johnson's directorial debut, Brick. I have been pushing, I think at least once or twice a year, I will tweet at Criterion to release this. Unfortunately, they did not get their hands on it, but it is coming out with a brand new 4K restoration supervised by Johnson. Includes audio commentary featuring Johnson, Nora Zetner, Noah Segan, who was actually in Knives Out, and some cast and crew members, 8 deleted and extended scenes, and more. I am ecstatic. I pre-ordered this as soon as it hit Amazon, I think like September or June, maybe even of last year. So I should be getting this shortly.
And what makes you such a brickhead?
I don't know. I love film noir. So I just love the concept of it, of setting it in modern times in a high school, because of all the, drama that high school brings back up for memories and stuff. And then having then that dialogue from those classic noir films in there, it just really comes together perfectly for me. I just enjoy the hell out of it. And I probably watch it at least once or twice a year.
Twice a year?
Yeah, there's a few films I do, like The Thing. Carpenter's The Thing. I probably watch at least once or twice a year.
I've probably watched The Thing 3 times this year. That's an every year film for me.
So you get it.
Brick is no thing, but okay.
Also, one of the better films we've seen this year that I think will end up on Matt's top 10 list, which we'll be doing in a couple weeks. Robert Eggers' The Lighthouse. Includes audio commentary with Eggers, some deleted scenes, and a making-of featurette. JC, what were your thoughts on The Lighthouse?
Don't ask me that, man. I don't have any.
Fair enough. I mean, you can't fix it because it's a fantastic film.
I wanted to see it, did not see it. I can't go to everything. I wanted to. I believe I didn't see it just because my plate was full, and by the time I got around to seeing it, I was like, okay, I'm just going to wait for this to come out, and I'll go ahead and watch it. But, I did enjoy, that's the same director as The Witch, correct?
Right.
Yeah,
Well,
I was very much anticipating it. I like violence against seagulls and masturbation, all in black and white.
Well, I'm glad. Well, this is the film for you, and it's now finally available
I
for
figured.
your actual physical copy. Girl on the Third Floor, a horror film. Dan Koch, I'm going to go with, or Koch. I'm throwing off because of the Koch brothers, because it's spelled the same way. Tries to renovate a rundown mansion with a sordid history for his growing family, only to learn that the house has other plans. One of the just Matt and JC just splintering film lit the internet on fire. Movie theaters across the country almost burned down because of just how insane this film was.
Come on.
You can finally pick up The Joker in a hard copy. Best Buy's got a steel book. Target has an exclusive cover. And there's 4 making of featurettes. Recently, I think it was Todd Phillips said that Batman's association with Joker had no impact on its sales whatsoever.
None.
Is he an idiot? He is an idiot, right?
I love that. I guess one of the write-up writes it as a failed comedian slips into madness as he encounters different people in the streets of New York. Like
Sure.
Sure.
I'm sure that if they just had called it Joker and it was just Joaquin Phoenix, I'm sure it just would have it wouldn't have just stayed like an indie darling. It would have been it also would have made $1 billion.
Exactly.
If nobody knew what the Joker was or who he was. I'm positive.
You're clearly right. Synapse is releasing Paradise Hills. A mysterious boarding school perfectly reforms wayward girls to fit their surroundings' exact desires. Isaac Gonzalez of Baby Driver, Emma Roberts, Mila Jovovich, and Aquafina all star in this film.
Huh? What do you said Mila Jovovich and Aquafina?
Yep.
They share a screen together?
Yes, they do. Is this a pairing you've been waiting for?
In my wildest wet dreams.
This show has taken a turn. We're definitely getting...
Is your show rated G?
Well,
should you not have asked me on here?
It's not typically filthy. We do... we'll have the occasional profanity on it. But we are prepared to throw up an explicit tag. I think that's fine. That's fine. Don't worry about it.
Wait, you're being serious right now, aren't you?
No.
I'm so sorry. Okay.
Be nice.
It's okay. Do not worry about it.
You won't be the first show I've ruined. I'm really sorry.
Hey, I almost took down your show, so it's fine.
Great.
New to Blu-ray, Criterion is releasing Holiday. An unhappy heiress falls in love with her stodgy sister's free-thinking fiancé. That's Katharine Hepburn and Cary Grant. A brand new 4K restoration of the film and some new featurettes as well. Your straight-to-DVD pick of the week, Omega Syndrome. An ex-GI, played by Ken Wall of The Soldier, The Taking of Beverly Hills, and of course, maybe mostly well known as TV's Wise Guy. His daughter, played by Nicole Eggert of TV's Baywatch and Charles in Charge.
There we go. Okay.
She is abducted by a gang of white supremacists. The ex-GI calls on one of his former armor buddies, and together they set out to track down the gang and rescue his daughter.
Wait, white supremacists have kidnapped a white girl?
Well, yeah. I mean, because I'm assuming some type of breeding thing. It is Nicole Eggert in the 80s or early 90s. Matt,
some kind of breeding thing.
What should we be streaming this week?
Anyway, I'm going to choose John Mulaney, his new special, John Mulaney and the Sack Lunch Bunch.
Netflix.
On Netflix. It's I'm a big fan of John Mulaney. I love all of his stand-up specials. I think they're hilarious. I think his episode of Documentary Now from this past season was fantastic. So yeah, it's just a weird after-school special musical with kids. It sounds like you shouldn't be watching it, but it is. It's hilarious. Check it out.
I have not gotten on the Mulvaney train yet.
No,
I have.
You haven't watched either of his stand-up specials?
I'm not the biggest stand-up guy. I was like 25 years ago, but it doesn't. I don't know.
Okay, this is gonna sound bizarre. I like Mulaney when he's doing things like Sack Lunch. When he's doing things like Sack Lunch Bunch, or when he's on like SNL doing the musical of The Lobster in the Tank.
Sure.
I don't enjoy his stand-up as much. I think he's a little too
clean.
No, it's not even that he's clean. It's that he comes out in his suit and he looks good, and he's got that certain cadence. like you can't even. I'm like, are these jokes? Like I can't. Like he speaks in that like very deliberate cadence that makes me sound like he's playing a character more than he's telling jokes. And also, some of his jokes I think are like observations that everyone has. But because he says it like this, we're supposed to laugh at it. And I don't, I'm not laughing at it. I do appreciate that people love him. And I do like him very, very much. But I like him when he's doing funny sketches more than when he's doing his stand-up.
Are you still more a Bill Cosby guy? Is that what it is?
No. Because Cosby's stand-up was legendary.
There you go.
That's sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Cosby's stand-up was legendary for sure.
It was. Yeah. I don't know. I like Mulaney's stories, man. The Vicodin story or the Xanax story is still one of my favorite stand-up bits ever. It's
Don't
hilarious.
ruin it for me.
Yeah.
I'm sure I'll
He
watch
does
it in the
have-
next 30 years.
He does have some, but on the whole, I feel like he's just telling me like a story, and I'm sitting around and I'm like, okay.
Yeah. Or the one where he's chasing the woman through the subway. That is hilarious.
I went to
Not
jail
bad,
for
not
doing
bad.
that. Why is that fun? All right. Let's move
You
on.
did?
Let's spend a few minutes talking about a film Matt begged us to watch on the show. Right, Matt?
I have to say, I almost about 50 minutes into this movie, I almost messaged you guys and say I can't be on this show. I said you guys have to be playing a joke on me, some kind of sick trick on me, because I offended you on my show or something, and now you're playing this joke on me, and it was not cool.
That was the prank. I did want to say, Chris was like, "Oh, we're gonna have a guest on." I'm like, "Let's make him watch this and say we're gonna watch it, and then just have him talk about it."
Jeez, you guys. Let's hear a clip from the Souvenir. Clearly, neither of you want to take home with you. Let's take a listen.
I ain't keeping it.
You came closer to me and took up more of the bed. And you're already, I would say, further over than I am.
That's not true.
It is true.
No, it's not. I haven't got
You
that
have
much.
bed dysmorphia. And then you accuse me of... I wasn't trying to cross any sort of threshold.
I have not got that much room.
You've got a foot on that side.
That's
and I
not a
literally
foot.
am on a ledge.
So, all right, this is the latest film from English director Joanna Hogg, and it is the story of a young woman in film school, and she falls in love with a heroin addict, a man she cannot trust. And it is a chaotic lifestyle, and eventually she kicks him out. He comes back and gets clean, but eventually things turn bad again. Now, you may have heard moments ago that our esteemed co-host and not sure returning guest didn't seem
Remember,
to be
your
fans.
episode has not come out yet. You might not be in it at all.
Don't appear to be fans of the Souvenir.
Don't tell me you liked this one too. Come on, man. Come on. Don't.
This
Come on.
is listen. I think part of the issue is it's a sad set. It's an intimate, I felt, raw portrait of a conflicted relationship that's torn apart by addiction. The problem is, these films are tough for me because I have some kind of a tangential experience with this kind of stuff. So, and it also based on true experiences by Joanna Hogg. She wrote and directed this film, and it's loosely based on a relationship she had. I found it to be kind of a serious and sad film. I thought it was it's very quiet and confined, and it's kind of shot that way. I think it kind of helps illustrate what our lead Julie is dealing with in this relationship, how she feels trapped because she loves this guy, though he is just a mess, and she can't do anything really about it. And I found it kind of made the impact of his actions that much more devastating. I don't know if enjoy the film is the way I would describe it. I appreciated it. I thought it was at times... Here's the problem. A lot of people are going to say that this film is slow. It's boring. There are long expanses where nothing happens. And we're just lingering on these shots of our characters, right? Of our leads. And I can see that interpretation and why some people would not care for it. I found the film to be very contemplative and moving. I did. I don't know if I could say I enjoyed it. I don't know if I'll ever watch it again. But I appreciated a lot of things about this thing. Tell me, gentlemen, why
Matt,
I'm
are you
wrong.
ready, Matt?
I'm ready. I'm ready, yes.
Are you ready, Matt, for the...
I am.
Who wants to go first and tell Chris he's crazy?
You go first. You're the guy.
You want me to go first? Okay,
Yeah,
here
sure.
we go. First of all, the lead actress, Tilda Swinton's daughter, is as bland as an actress or human being that you can possibly get. If this isn't her first film, by the way, I actually looked it up. This is her first film. This is some kind of favor to Tilda, and it feels that way.
Well, I'll say too, I wonder if this is. I do think this is a kind of a shining example of nepotism in film, and I wonder like if Tilda Swinton wasn't involved in this thing, it never would have gotten funded. I feel
this
like
whole thing has the stank of elite, wealthy film school, disgusting studentism.
I know. I feel like we should do a video essay basically on the current crop of actors and just trace back through their lineage and see how they all come from. Like Billie Lourd popping up and stuff all over the place now. Carrie Fisher.
Billie Lourd deserves it. She's at least fun. She's at least a fun actress.
And Booksmart, she's a lot of fun. Anyway, so okay.
Booksmart, fantastic. Okay, why? Why is there anything more pretentious than a filmmaker making a movie about her experiences in film school? Is there anything more pretentious than that exact scenario? Also, why in the hell do I care about watching the story of a wealthy, entitled, naive, idiot, elite girl getting swindled by a lowlife, and that slumming it experience suddenly makes her an artist? This might be the most disgusting, barfy movie I've ever seen in my entire life. At no moment did I enjoy this thing. At no moment did I connect with anything going on in this thing, because the director of this film and the whole screenplay of this thing, everything about this thing is so disconnected from any reality that it's insane. Matt?
Well, that may be part of the issue, because I think the reality of this is entirely accurate, and this is stuff
portrayal
that's happening all over this country and in others as well. Matt,
this is a portrayal of naive, wealthy elites.
No, but it is about
who need junkies to make them artists. It's fucking ridiculous.
Wow. Yeah, I can say this. This is one of those films that's like it's just character study. It's all character study. Mm-hmm. It has very little narrative, and that's extremely jarring, and it's not something that I enjoyed. While
shot
I was
like a play too.
It
takes only a couple locations.
It shot like someone in film school.
Yeah. And like the principals, I couldn't stand it. Like I couldn't stand Tom Burke at all. He was just this pretentious, nasally guy that you heard in the clip talking about the bed. Honor Swinton Byrne. Yeah, Byrne. Yeah. She didn't do it for me at all. I couldn't get around it. And it's weird. I don't know if it's because I'm getting older and like it's like I can't be bothered, I think, with these type of films anymore. Like I'm sitting there watching it and I feel like it's going for some kind of depth that it hasn't really earned, and it uses up so much of your goodwill by the time that the turn actually happens. Like I don't care anymore.
Oh, and by the way, there are points in this movie where we're supposed to believe she's 25 years old, and she's still so fucking naive and stupid. And I'm like, no. She's still acting like she's 17 and knows nothing. I'm like, I can't believe this is a 25-year-old person. This is a teenager. I can picture this movie. I pictured some 19-year-old college freshman who just got broken up with real bad by like some older guy, loves this movie. This is her favorite movie. But somebody who's like older looking at this movie goes, what the hell am I watching? Like, I'm watching a movie that has the like brain of an adolescent. And not only that, since this movie was set in the 80s, and he was getting sick and stuff and sharing needles, and she was getting sick, I was like, oh my God, the Souvenir is AIDS, isn't it?
That thought crossed my mind as well. Either that or she was going to be pregnant by the end.
I was like, oh my God.
I don't find that to be a conflict in the film at all, that she is naive. She grew up, in an affluent household. She probably did not have the relevant life experiences to really appreciate what's happening. I've assumed she had some kind of sheltered life for most of it, and then she gets involved in this relationship, and things go horribly, horribly wrong.
Yeah, she needs this junkie so that she can be an artiste.
Yeah, and to be frank, if that's the kind of film you want to watch, there's much better options out there than this.
That's too bad, gentlemen. I found I rather enjoyed this thing. I thought it was.
If you give this an A-, I'm going to fly down there. I'm going to fly down there tomorrow.
This is easily the best film of 2019. No. I gave it. I'm kidding. I did.
You gave it an A something though, didn't you?
No, I didn't.
Okay, good.
No, I gave it a B plus. I really enjoyed it. Enjoyed it. I don't know if enjoyed is quite the correct term.
You wanted to give it an A though, in your heart of hearts.
Sure, like I said, as much as I possibly can. I'm the candy man when it comes out to giving out the A's. So, yeah, fair enough. I gave it a B plus. JC, what are you giving it?
D. Don't ever. Nobody watch this.
Dynamic.
No, D. If I can prevent someone from watching this movie,
do you
I've
just
done
not
my
watch
good
bad
deed.
movies? Is that what it is?
I've done my good deed for the day. If I can prevent someone from watching this,
do you just not
from
watch
watching
really bad
someone's
films? I don't understand.
From watching someone's pretentious, elitist, ridiculous project. If I can do that today, my job is done.
That is ridiculous. Matt, give me your score.
Honestly,
Go ahead, Matt. Do it.
I'm going to give it a D.
Yes, yes.
I'm sorry, Chris. I could not get into this thing at all. I just couldn't. I'm sitting there watching this. I'm like, I don't have time for this. I'm sitting there watching this thing. I was not happy.
Well, Matt, we need to hang out, man.
Yeah, there you go. I'm going to be on the next show. Screen Fix.
You're on, man. We're getting you on soon.
There you go.
Well, you'll both be happy to know that they've announced a sequel.
No, this sequel was announced like right when this shit came out. This bullshit came out. I'm like, what the hell else am I gonna watch? This lady is just masturbating all over our faces. It's disgusting. I don't want to watch this.
That is an image I wasn't prepared for. I joked around about it on your show, but this is not that type of show.
I'm really sorry. Really sorry. I'm so sorry.
No, that was funny. Don't apologize. I thought it was hilarious.
All right. So clearly the Souvenir wasn't a universal claim this week. So what are your thoughts? It's currently available on Amazon Prime. Shoot us an email at feedback@thefirstrun.com. Next, I'm going to go lick my wounds, and we're going to come back and talk about our 10 most anticipated films of 2020, or at least January through June. I don't know how many of them on JC's list are starring Alexis Texas. I'm assuming some of them. So we're going to take a quick break.
But you know who that is, so boom.
I'm going to play you a clip.
A little pervy. Someone's a little pervy.
How dare you? I'm going to play a clip of a film that didn't quite make the list for me. And listen, I love the choices that this particular actor has been making. I don't know if you're going to hear his voice in the clip, but we'll tell you who he is when we get back.
Just so you know, if you want to impress me, I like fight stories. Ever been in a fight?
No.
I have. I once accidentally kicked a guy's ear off. I didn't mean to, but the fucker flew off. I could see right into his skull.
So Elijah Wood stars in Come to Daddy, getting a limited release on February 7th. Wood plays a man in his 30s who travels to a remote cabin to reconnect with his estranged father. And it's supposed to be kind of this pseudo-thriller horror film, but just weird. And
that's on my list, you bastard.
Oh, well, didn't quite make mine. So Elijah Wood, though, I keep choosing some really odd projects. And this looks like another winner for me, but I'll stop talking about it because it looks like you're going to bring it up. So,
fine.
Why don't you then, who should start us off? What do you think then? JC, you're the guest. Why don't you go first, Matt, and then I'll...
Should we take like turns or...
Yeah, so we're going to go around. So you, Matt, me, you, Matt, me.
Should I go with like my underground picks first, or like my big ones?
Well, typically we do just 10 through 1 in order of how excited you are for them. But you can do whatever you want. You're the guest. Go crazy.
Mine
You've
are
already
not really ordered.
Crushed a small part of me, so
My
Keep it going.
I first of all, I just want to say I really like you as a human being, Chris, and I hope that one day maybe we can even call each other friends. That'd be nice.
Well, we'll see.
Okay. I apologize that I have a potty mouth. Daddy and Mommy, I blame you. One of my first ones that I'm looking forward to this year, I guess I'll start with something kind of weird, is the movie Color Out of Space, which is the Richard Stanley film from an H.P. Lovecraft story starring Nicolas Cage and also Tommy Chong. So basically, this family's living in this house, this weird thing crashes on their property, and it's making this weird light, and this strange light is causing all of these really messed up things to happen around them, and it just looks weird, kind of fascinating. I don't even know what to expect from it. That's why I'm all amped up about it. I'm like, what the hell is this? And plus it has the same producer as Mandy, which is a movie that I very much enjoyed of Nicolas Cage's this year. So one of my choices, in no particular order, is Color Out of Space.
There you go.
Yeah, that's a good one. I'm looking forward to that one. All right, so my number 10 is an A24 horror film, Saint Maud. It comes out March 27th. Not really sure what this is about in full, but it looks like it's about a woman who's a caretaker, but she also goes into kind of these religious ecstasy kind of throes where she's damaging herself, flagellating herself, and it looks like there's something supernatural that's maybe directing her to do these things that's not of the divine nature that she thinks it is.
Just cut off on my list as well. My number 10 is Never, Rarely, Sometimes, Always, getting a limited release beginning on March 13th. It's about a young woman who finds out she's pregnant and she resides in a state that she cannot legally get an abortion in. And she travels to another state with a friend of hers. And the two of them just basically try and get the abortion. They have to stay overnight. They're in New York City. They have no money. They don't know what to do. It looks kind of just like a searing drama. And it looks, I don't know, it just looks really fascinating to me. And I'm kind of looking forward to see what they have to say about that whole thing. So that's my 10. Never, Rarely, Sometimes, Always.
Interesting.
JC?
Yeah.
Number 9.
First of all, I enjoy your show, that you have a wonderful show. I'm just trying to get back into I'm trying to crawl back in.
You never left the good graces. You never left.
You're fine. You're fine.
My next one is, I don't even know why, is a movie called, I don't even know. I really like everybody in it. I love Sterling K. Brown. Love him. Really enjoy Jude Law. And I, for some reason, really like Blake Lively because she's transcended that, like, TV, teeny bopper thing. I'm really looking forward to the movie The Rhythm Section, which is essentially like Atomic Blonde with Blake Lively. So it's just one of those woman on a mission films. And I know that Blake Lively, much like Leonardo DiCaprio in Django Unchained, she messed up her hand while she was filming this movie. And I'm looking forward to see that one. Some real blood and guts.
Okay. Matt, I'm going to call the police. Matt.
All right. My number 9, I'm kind of getting all the horror films out of the way here, but my number 9 is The Lodge, a Hammer film.
Yeah.
So looking forward to that. It looks like it's a woman goes up to a remote cabin with her boyfriend's children. They get cut off, and it seems that she had some demons from her past in the form of a cult maybe that she belonged to that have kind of intruding onto her life now. It looks creepy as all hell, so I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, that's awesome. The Lodge almost made my list. I've been looking out for The Lodge too, so that's a good choice. I'm a horror fan, love horror. I actually think right now there's a little horror renaissance going on.
For sure.
But I think during this horror renaissance, I think it's because they're making kind of a lot of horror movies for the masses right now. Like kind of like easy intro to horror movies are going on right now. But then we're going to get some stuff like The Lodge that I think will be a little more chilling.
Yeah, honorable mention for me as well. I'm glad you brought it up, Matt. My number 9 is, all right, so they tried to launch this Universal Monsters expanded universe, right, with the Mummy, and it failed miserably, and it is not a good film. So they shuffled this property over to Blumhouse, and Lee Whannell is making it starring Elizabeth Moss, and that is The Invisible Man. It's being released on February 28th. I think it is an absolutely incredible trailer. Scary as all hell, and I really am looking forward to this thing. Is he going mad? Is he really there? You know, what's happening? And it just looks like it's going to be a lot of fun. So
that's interesting. I didn't know at all that was connected to the MonsterVerse stuff. I thought it was completely divorced from that. So that's interesting.
Yeah, along with the Universal monsters, the classics, The Mummy's probably my favorite of the series, even more so than Frankenstein and Dracula. And The Invisible Man, too, with Claude Rains, is just top shelf classic, Universal horror. So I'm looking forward to this. What do you got?
Awesome. Next one I have is a remake of the Swedish film Force Majeure. This is a movie called Downhill, which I think the name is unfortunate. It sounds like one of those 1980s ski lodge sex comedies.
Yes.
But it's not. It's called Downhill, and it has Will Ferrell and Julia Louis-Dreyfus.
Mm-hmm.
I'll tell you what, I liked Force Majeure, but I didn't love it. I liked what it was trying to say. It had some beautiful, breathtaking cinematography, especially with the controlled landslide. But I wonder what kind of life Will Ferrell and Julia Louis-Dreyfus can bring to this film. It's such a different choice than the Swedish film. I'm really fascinated with, I don't know, the movie is just making a lot of choices that I find really intriguing. I'm looking forward to Downhill.
Yeah, it was on my honorable mentions. I thought about putting it on my list. Plus, it's done by Nate Faxon and Jim Rosh, who did The Descendants, right? With
Faxon,
Clooney.
Yeah. Won an Academy Award, or was nominated for Descendants. Did he win, or was he nominated? Faxon.
I don't remember. I don't recall.
One of those. Anyway,
but I love Dreyfus and Farrell too. But there's something about just remaking this thing. I don't know. It doesn't sit right with me. So I don't know.
Yeah, let me pick apart your list, Chris.
By all means, please. That's what we're here for. Matt.
All right, so the horror train continues. So in June 12th, right in time for summer, it's a rare summer horror relief, is the Candyman remake. I'm very interested to see this because Jordan Peele was one of the writers on it, and we have very little information. There's no trailer, but I believe Tony Todd's going to show up in it somewhere, and I'm really curious to see what this is all about, because the first one scared the hell out of me when I saw it when I was 10 years old.
Candyman?
Yeah.
That was a freaky one. I used to, I don't know if you guys know this, I used to live and work in LA on TVs and movies. So I got a dog dying behind me. So I used to work in LA on TVs and movies, and I lived in Glendale, and I remember going to Trader Joe's when I lived in Glendale. And I walked into the Trader Joe's, and there was the actor from Candyman.
It was Tony Todd?
Oh, man. Huge, by the way.
Yeah.
He's super tall.
Yeah.
He was massive, and he was just in the line at Trader Joe's with groceries. And I remember just being like, oh, my God. And with him, he had the tiniest girlfriend, probably 5'4", 5'3", this tiny girl with him. But he's one of the celebrities I ran into in the grocery store.
That's cool.
While I was living there. Yeah,
that's cool. My number 8 then is, I know I've never really, I think I saw Candyman when it came out, and I haven't seen it since. I got to reconnect with that thing. So my number 8 is First Cow, coming out on March 6th, directed by Kelly Reichardt. If you're not familiar with Kelly Reichardt, she directed one of my all-time favorite movies, I think, Wendy and Lucy, which I just seen a couple years ago for the first time, and I absolutely loved it with Michelle Williams. It's just a heartbreaking tale of basically just trying to survive when you have nothing. And in this film, a loner named Cook has traveled west and joined a group of fur trappers in the Oregon Territory, though he only finds connection with a Chinese immigrant. The men collaborate on business, although its longevity is reliant upon the participation of a wealthy landowner's prized milking cow. Sounds exciting, right?
No.
But Kelly Reichardt really delivers these kind of slice-of-life dramas, and they're always just interesting and fascinating to watch. So she's my 8.
Yeah, interesting. Matt, do you have anything to add to that weirdly boring-sounding film, or?
No, I was reading a little bit about this. I couldn't find any kind of clips or anything about it. So yeah, I will reserve judgment on that because I couldn't watch anything about it.
I'm more just trusting in Kelly Reichert, so she could swing and a miss on it for all I know. I don't know.
She might.
JC, number 7.
See, it's like some things I'm interested in out of just morbid curiosity. So, out of morbid curiosity, I'm into that New Mutants movie.
Yeah.
The one coming, that
If
like
it ever
long,
comes out.
right? But it's supposed to come out in the first half of 2020. So I just have morbid curiosity to see this movie that has been pushed back so many times. It looked like it was not going to get made at all. I mean, the whole thing was filmed. Apparently, there were massive reshoots, changed hands from Fox to Marvel. From Fox to Disney Marvel. They don't know what to do with it, but yet it's getting dumped out. And I'm going to go see this because I got to see what the hell they were so afraid of with it. So out of morbid curiosity, I want to see New Mutants. It's on a list of things that I want to see this year.
I hope it's more of a Cabin in the Woods thing instead of a Red Dawn remake thing.
Oh, God.
You know, with stuff that gets shelved for a long time and eventually comes out.
Yeah.
Because that Red Dawn remake is an absolute disaster. But
Cabin in the
Woods is a lot of fun.
Yeah, Cabin in the Woods is amazing. That's one of my favorite horror movies of all time. It's absolutely fantastic. We actually agree on something there, Chris.
Matt, you were going to say something? Sorry.
Yeah, I just it was in my honorable mentions. I'm just extremely curious to see how bad this thing really is.
Right, morbid curiosity. Like that's almost. I feel like that's why people are seeing Cats.
I'm not seeing Cats.
But you will see it someday, just out of morbid curiosity. Come on.
Yeah, that's true. You're probably right.
Exactly.
All right, Matt. Let's go.
My turn.
Pick it up. Let's go.
My number. I don't have to go to work tomorrow. My number 7 is my last horror film. Swear, guys, it's what I think is a monster movie. I don't know what the hell's going on with this thing. Antlers comes out April 17th. Stars Kerry Russell, but the real ace in the hole is Jesse Plemons is also in it. So obviously it's elevated at least half a letter grade from the treasure of Jesse Plemons.
It's like Jesse Plemons is like Matt Damon if he got hit by a car.
I look at it as more like stung by a bunch of bees.
Yes, he's bee sting Matt Damon.
I like how that he was in El Camino and they tried to play him like he's gained like 40 pounds and like aged like 20 years and since Brad Baking battled on, but they just kind of tried to slide him back in there for El Camino, and I just went with it.
Good for you.
Good.
So number 7, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I'm gonna do it. I don't know why, but I'm just gonna say it.
Oh, shit.
I'm going with Birds of Prey at number 7.
What? Not
Why
even an
not?
mention.
Why
No.
not? You know, Birds of Prey is. Why not? They're trying to take that out. They're trying to take the best part of Suicide Squad. Right? Do you think she was the best part of Suicide Squad?
I don't
Kind of.
know.
No?
I actually oddly have a weird affection for, and this is the only time you'll ever hear me use his name in this way. Jay Courtney is Captain Boomerang in that thing because I cannot stand him as an actor, but he is a blast in that film.
Because they just like let him be like peak Jai Courtney. They just let him be like, dude, do this, JC.
Right. But I love me some Mary Elizabeth Winstead, Ewan McGregor, Rosie Perez, Margot Robbie.
Yeah.
You know, I'm just curious to see what they end up churning out with this thing. So fingers crossed, I'll enjoy it. We'll find out. February 7th.
There you go.
Yeah, why not? You can add in some stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to judge your list.
It competes with The Lodge, so that'll be interesting to see what we pick.
Could do a doubleheader. I don't know. JC, what do you got? Number 6.
My next one, I know this is going to shock a lot of you. Legally Blonde 3.
What?
What has Elle Woods been up to? I kind of want to know.
I don't think I've seen any of those.
Neither have I.
I mean, if you're asking me honestly what I'm looking forward to, if, legally, right on. Reese Witherspoon hasn't done anything in a while. She's going back to one of her old properties. I'm going to see it. Why not? And let me add a little levity to my list. Legally Blonde 3. Right on. Let's do this. Come on. I'll buckle up and ride Reese Witherspoon with Reese Witherspoon.
Whoa, I know. Careful
yeah,
there.
you know. Sorry. I know.
We're a relatively woke show.
So my number 6 is hopefully Chris won't be too upset that this is so low on the list. It may be up to
I will
3.
disconnect this phone call right now.
Is the next entry in the James Bond franchise, No Time to Die, comes out on April 10th. I'm not a huge fan of James Bond. I can take him or leave him most of the time.
You son of a bitch.
Yeah. So I won't talk too much more about it because I'm sure it comes up much higher on the list somewhere else.
This movie should be called About Time to Die.
No good. Really bad for you. Not good. Believe me, not good.
Because Daniel Craig didn't want to do this shit. Danny Boyle dropped out. This movie shouldn't exist. This franchise is past its prime. I mean, it's cool that you want to see it, Matt. We usually agree. I'll see it, totally. But I'm totally going in with my expectations way low.
Hey, just relax, amigo.
I am a boiling pot of anger right now, especially that the franchise should call it a day.
Yeah, About Time to Die. That's what this is called.
All right, so moving on. My number 6.
Where's Idris Elba already?
Yeah, maybe next. Maybe after Craig.
Nice tool. Is you want Tom Hardy? That's who you want. The number 6 most anticipated first half film of 2020 is Joe Wright's The Woman in the Window, starring Amy Adams as an agoraphobic child psychologist. She befriends a neighbor across the brownstone from her in New York, who then seems to disappear. Kind of a take on Rear Window, one of my favorite Hitchcock films, if not one of my favorite films ever. And who knows if this will be the one for Amy Adams to get her Oscar? I don't know, but I've enjoyed quite a few Joe Wright films as well, so this looks like a good pairing for me. Woman in the Window, May 15th, my number 6 pick.
Doesn't Joe Wright do like period dramas?
He did Atonement, which I absolutely loved, but he also did Hannah, that action film that Amazon did a show out of, which is pretty good too, with Saoirse Ronan in that as well.
Atonement has one of the best quote unquote one shots of any movie I've ever seen. When they're on the beach in France.
Yep, I can agree with you on that.
Okay.
Yeah, see, now you actually might be kicked out because Chris is like a James Bond super fan. Like, he loves it.
All right, fine, whatever.
Yeah. But at the same time, he wants to see, like, the dramatic story of, like, the Bond girls and what trauma they went through in their lives and whether they, like, that's also
he wants the backstory for Pussy Galore.
Yes, he wants to see Pussy Galore's like trauma that she went through and how she overcame it, and like that's also Chris's taste that I'm slowly picking up on. So
you have my curiosity. Now you have my attention.
Bring back Anthony Jansen for Ivana Onatop's tragic backstory.
Exactly.
See, some really slow character piece about one of the Bond girls. So, all right.
Troubled relationship with an older man.
Yes.
It's
troubled relationship with the Odd Job.
Yeah, plot twist. It's Goldfinger. She has a troubled relationship with.
I'm glad
James Bond.
I'm glad you guys are having fun. I have to edit this tonight and post it, so let's
I'm
keep
so
rolling.
Sorry. Okay,
all right,
here we go.
We're gonna burn these last 5, top 5. Boom, boom,
yeah,
boom, boom.
Here we go. I mean, mine were in no particular order, but these might be weird. There might be some stupid ones in here, but anyway, totally, absolutely looking forward to Wonder Woman 1984.
Mm-hmm.
Just am. I am in love with Gal Gadot's Wonder Woman. Give me more of that. As kind of eye roll worthy as it is that Chris Pine's character is back, from what I've seen in the previews, he's so charismatic. He's so funny. He's got such great timing.
Yeah.
I can't wait to get more of Chris Pine as Steve Trevor, and I can't wait to get more of Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman. They're chemistry is outstanding. We're adding Kristen Wiig as Cheetah. What does this movie not have? Like, it's got the 80s aesthetic. This movie has everything that I'm all about. I'm ready for this. I loved the trailer. Bring on some more Wonder Woman.
Yeah, we've said on the show too, we should either bunker Pine and Gadot in case there's some kind of cataclysmic event, or at least get their DNA so if we can continue the species.
Yeah, where's that seed bunker in Norway?
Exactly.
We need to.
Exactly. So go ahead, Matt. What you got?
My number 5 is what I'm hoping to be able to say, that football movie, Top Gun Maverick. There was a spinning football, and I called it, Chris. We talked about what's going to replace the volleyball scene. We said shirtless football, and I think that's going to be it. So I'm old. I'm curious to see this. It's probably going to be stupid and nostalgic, but I still want to see it. Top Gun.
That's my number 1, Matt.
Is it?
Yes.
Right.
I want to see the shit out of that movie. I am so here for that movie.
I have not seen the first one all the way through. I've never seen the whole thing.
What? You've never seen all of Top Gun?
Nope, never seen the whole thing.
I know the beats. You're shitting me right now.
I know the story beats of everything, but I've never seen it from start to finish.
Holy crap, Chris!
Yep.
I mean, this
show's over. Show's over.
It's going to be a can of worms. Do you have a father figure in your life?
We don't have time for that. Okay.
What male did not hand you Top Gun and say, "Watch this, my boy"?
Because my father had left by then. Let's get into it. All right, my number 5 is a film Matt already brought up, which is Antlers, coming out on April 17th as a limited release. But as you said, Kerry Russell, Jesse Plemons, right, out in Oregon, dealing with a young student who's harboring Matt some dangerous secrets with frightening consequences. And you said it, it's Russell and Plemons. That's going to get my butt in the seat. And then you put him in a horror film, done. JC, what's your 4?
I've mentioned before that I need to see things just out of morbid curiosity. Sonic the Hedgehog. I have to see this movie after they came out with the one with the poster where his like quad and knee kind of looked like Sonic had a heart on. It was really strange, but they course corrected. They made him look more like a cartoon. They didn't give him all of the like muscular features and all the toneness. They fixed the scary humanoid teeth, the weird eyeballs, and he's back to looking like a cartoon. It looks like some of the effects are done. Is this the first movie where toxic fandom saved it? It might be, and that's where my curiosity lies. I want to see if toxic fandom saved Sonic the Hedgehog. And
the answer to that is no. Matt, go ahead. You're number 4.
Whoa!
Wow. So my number 4 is the first of 2 Pixar movies we're getting next year. In March, we're getting Onward, starring Tom Holland and Chris Pratt, who live in a world of magical creatures and monsters, and they try to cast a spell to bring their dead father back to life. Slightly mess it up, and they have to go on a journey to fix it and maybe bring him back from the dead. I'm all on board for this. It looks like it's something that's right up in my wheelhouse.
Yeah,
I would like to bring up Lady Wan from Screen Fix on this one. I asked her about this movie, and she's like, "No, I don't want to see that." I'm like, "Why not? Like, it's got Chris Pratt and Tom Holland, 2 people that you love." She's like, "Yeah, but I can't see them." So she's not interested whatsoever.
All right. Well, there you go. I guess
fair point. Yeah, I don't know what it is. I never seem to get really souped up over Pixar movies, talking about them, and then I see them and I love them. So it's weird.
Yeah,
not even honorable.
Well, we're getting 2 next year.
For me. I know
2 next year.
My number 4, then, coming out on May 8th, is Greyhound. In the early days of World War II, international convoy of 37 Allied ships, led by Captain Ernest Krauss, played by America's sweetheart Tom Hanks, in his first command of a U.S. destroyer, crosses the treacherous North Atlantic while hotly pursued by wolf packs of Nazi U-boats. Hanks, Nazis, World War II, I can't go wrong. Greyhound's my number 4.
Sounds like the dad movie of the year.
That's right. 3 to go. What do you got, JC? Are you just working on your breathing techniques? What's going on over there? You ready?
I laugh in a very breathy, wheezy way, so I'm holding it in.
It's endearing and disturbing all at the same time.
Would you like my next film, Chris?
That'd be awesome.
Yes, please.
Great. My next one, and I'm not ashamed to say it. Let's get down to business to defeat the Huns. Did they send me daughters when I asked for sons? That's right, Mulan, the live-action Mulan. But this time, no songs, even though those Donny Osmond songs are the most underrated Disney songs there are, period. That movie brought it back in the day, but I'm looking forward to this live-action Mulan. They've changed up the story a bit, going stronger with the source material, no songs, serious movie, woman warrior, infiltrating the ranks of some dudes. It looks dramatic. Director is, I forget. Anyway, amazing director that I'm absolutely thrilled to see.
Woody Allen.
And I want this movie. I have not been into any of the other remakes, really. Lion King was a travesty.
Mm-hmm.
And but this one, hell yeah. Mulan, gimme.
It's an interesting pick. Yeah, I'd be interested. I think it's going to do well in China. The cynic in me says that's why they're making it.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
And it's not starring Scarlett Johansson, which is weird. Go ahead.
Yeah, very weird. All right, so my number 3, I think Chris is going to maybe disagree with this pick, but I just watched the trailer a few hours ago, and I'm actually really on board with this film right now.
Don't ruin it for me.
A Quiet Place Part 2.
Oh, no. Okay.
I was all into the fact that they started showing the beginnings of the alien invasion, which looked awesome. And then I was pleasantly surprised to see Cillian Murphy and Jamon Hansu in this. So I'm actually very curious to see how this plays out. So I'm looking forward to it. Quiet Place 2.
Yeah, didn't make my list. I don't know why. I enjoyed the first one a lot, but I don't know. And I was listening to Comedy Bang Bang. I'm a couple weeks out on that. And Jonathan Grabus was on, and he made an interesting point that I hadn't thought of. Or maybe we even talked about it. I don't remember. It's been so long. Why didn't they just live by the waterfall?
Sure, Chris. Then we wouldn't have a movie, Chris.
All right, anyway.
On Screen Fix, we fixed Quiet Place 1.
Oh, I'll listen to it.
And we bring up many of these issues, like why are they idiots is basically all of the fixes. Like,
yeah, it doesn't. Yeah, if you sit around and think about it too much, there are a lot of issues with it.
Yes.
My number 3, then, coming out April 17th. I don't know if you gentlemen have seen the trailer for this thing, but it looks intense. And that is Promising Young Woman, starring Carey Mulligan. She plays a young woman who goes to bars and pretends to get loaded, so then guys will take her home. And then, basically, I'm assuming, from what the trailer infers, kills them. And she keeps a list of all these guys trying to take them out as they attempt to do horrible things, all in the name, it appears, in revenge of a former classmate who
isn't that Cardi B's real life story?
I don't think so. Could be. But if you haven't
Cardi
seen...
B was a stripper. Wasn't she a stripper?
She was. If you haven't seen...
I heard it went the other way. Anyway, go ahead.
So, Promising Young Woman... When we're done with the show, if you haven't seen the trailer yet, check it out. It looks great. April 17th. It's good to see. I haven't seen Carey Mulligan on screen for a little while now. It's probably just something I've missed, but so you can check that out.
Okay. Sounds like another story of a Bond lady. Here we go. What number are we on?
Number 2, JC.
Number 2. Well, my number 1 and 2, you've already said.
Okay.
So
you can say it again.
I mean, I do have some on here. Like, we did go over like some honorable mention type stuff, but I guess I'll mention like some of my honorable mentions are there's this really random Judd Apatow, Pete Davidson movie coming out, co-written by Judd Apatow and Pete Davidson about Pete Davidson's life. Basically, if you don't know about it, his father died in 9/11, and he...
Has he mentioned that before?
Basically every time he does a monologue on Saturday Night Live. So it also has Marissa Tomei and Bill Burr. So I'm like fascinated by this weird combination of Pete Davidson, Marissa Tomei, and Bill Burr. I don't know if it's on my top, but it has my curiosity. So, instead of reading one of my second one, which was Quiet Place 2, which actually has that exciting scene in the trailer where where everything's falling apart, which looks fascinating, Matt. One that was like an honorable mention for me was this Judd Apatow, Pete Davidson movie. I don't love Pete Davidson, but I'm hoping that he proves to be a decent writer, and I'm really excited to see Marissa Tomei and Bill Burr together. Such a weird combo. This is one of my honorable mentions.
Matt,
my number 2. I'm gonna go give you my number 2 and my number 1 because they're very linked together. So my number 2 is the first of new superhero films we're gonna get. It's Black Widow, starring Scarlett Johansson and Florence Pugh and my boy David Harbour. Looks like it's a hell of a lot of fun. But it doesn't look as much fun as Wonder Woman 1984.
Yeah.
As of right now, Shazam is really the only DC film that I actually really like. Whereas I have a good feeling that this one's going to blow it out of the park. I liked Wonder Woman. I just didn't think it was as good as everybody made it out to be. But I think this one has the goods. I'm feeling it. I'm calling it now, Chris.
All right. Well, I guess I'll do my 2 and 1 as well, since JC really, discussed his 2. We'll just wrap it up.
Well, I've got my note. I actually want to say a couple more words about my note number 1 afterwards.
Okay, then I'll just do my 2, and then we'll tag team back. Oh, you know what? We'll close it out. You're the guest. So, all right. Okay. My number 2 then is the aforementioned Wonder Woman 1984. Like we said, you got Gal Gadot, you got Chris Pine, and you have them inserted in my favorite decade, the 80s. Pedro Pascal as well. Come on. This thing is going to be a blast. It's going to be a lot of fun, and I can't wait for it. June 5th. And then, of course...
Number 1, Chris?
My most anticipated film. Of course, you don't think No Time to Die wouldn't be my number 1?
Oh, boy.
The Bond fan? Daniel Craig's last outing. Cary Fukunaga, who did the first season of True Detective. Have you seen the trailer for that thing? Have you seen some of the shots that have been on Instagram and stuff? This thing is going to be great. I'm really looking forward to it. I can't wait to see how... I'm hoping Craig goes out on a high note, especially better than that last film. So, I don't know. I don't know how you could think No Time That I would not be my number 1 for the first half of 2020. All right, JC, take us home.
All right. Well, if you notice, Bond is not on my list. Daniel Craig is starting to look all of his 70 years. And let's see. My number 1, I already mentioned it was one of Matt's choices. It is Top Gun Maverick. Trailer got me in the feel nozzle. It was just great. I had all the nostalgia. I think Tom Cruise is a true movie star. He's coming back to one of his big star-making vehicles. Miles Teller as the son of Goose. But I want to say, where's Meg Ryan? Doesn't Meg Ryan need this? Meg Ryan was Goose's girl. Remember that in the original? Where is Meg Ryan? Hashtag justice for Meg Ryan. Why isn't she in this movie?
She's probably dead. That's what they're going to tell us. She's going to die. She died too.
And then they just throw in Jennifer Connelly, of course, who's still absolutely smoking at like 50 years old. Oh my God, Jennifer Connelly. Jennifer Connelly, I think that's like, if you were going to give me a list of my favorite just actresses I think are the most attractive in the whole world, Jennifer Connelly is in my top 5 for sure. Love
it's a good
her
way to measure an actor, a woman's worth. That's right. Continue. Go ahead.
Love her to death. I've also loved her acting, but when I was a little kid, I wasn't paying attention to her acting. I was just like, she's pretty. Why do I feel weird? So that's it, and that's what Jennifer Connelly was for me. She made me feel weird when I was a kid. Whatever. All right, and then it's a clean show. So looking forward to Top Gun. I hope Meg Ryan shows up in it somewhere, but I'm very much looking forward to this movie. Miles Teller, I think he's a good actor. Whiplash, one of my favorite movies of all time. Plus, he's got that outrageously wonderful porn stash honoring Goose, his father. This movie has something for everyone. So, you know what? Goose me. Maverick, Top Gun, I'm there for it. Number 1.
There you go. Well, we mentioned a lot of honorable mentions, and we are running a little long, which is cool. We don't usually run this long, so it's fun to give people a little bonus tent, as they say. Antebellum? Any of you guys interested in Antebellum with Janelle Monáe?
It's on my list, actually, of honorable mention list. It almost made my top 10. I mean, some kind of like, I don't even know, a slavery horror movie. It's a weird thing to say, but yeah, it looks some kind of like antebellum South horror movie. It just sounds very intriguing.
And then
they like slap Jordan Peele on it.
There you go. Get some
from
people
the
in the seats.
producer of Us. Yeah.
And then you have In the Heights, based on the Broadway musical, the big screen adaptation that's coming out.
Lin-Manuel Miranda.
Yep.
Anything
else, gentlemen?
The only other things on my honorable mention were Bad Boys for Life, because hell yeah. Because I like me a good old throwback rated R buddy cop comedy.
I've never seen any of those.
We haven't had a good one of those since The Good Guys. You guys like that movie?
Yeah, The Good Guys. That was a good one.
The Good Guys is excellent. I'm looking for more of that because they just don't make these anymore. Like, it's just a rated R.
And nobody went to see that either, unfortunately. So I don't know.
No, but it's so good. Everyone out there listening to The First Run, fantastic internet program, go watch The Good Guys.
There you go.
Please.
Well, I think that's about it. Let's wrap this sucker up. What do you say, gentlemen?
Sure.
I don't want to.
You can come back. You just have to take back everything negative you said about
I don't know if I can. I don't know if I will ever be allowed back in this thing. But Matt, Chris, we want you on Screen Fix for sure.
Thanks, man.
That's where you can let loose, take your shoes off, take your pants off. I don't care. Just keep the camera, breast high. So yeah, we would love to have you guys. Love you guys. You guys are funny. You guys are awesome. You guys sound smart, knowledgeable about movies, different points of view.
Well,
Chris likes his female coming of age stories. Fantastic,
sure. I'm curious what happened with Plenty O'Toole before she got wrapped up. So you can check out JC and his partner in crime there, the Lady Juan, at screenfixpod.com, and they're available on all your podcast hosting sites.
Yeah, everywhere.
So you can check them out. Next
Subscribe.
week, Matt. I don't know, Matt. We're going to do The Grudge?
I guess.
You guys are doing The Grudge?
We may.
Like the remake?
Yeah, there's a new one that just came out, right?
Yeah.
We got to do our calendar, too. We're going to do a live stream at some point, Matt. You got to let me know when your calendar clears up so we can plot out all of 2020 and figure everything out.
What do you do on your live streams?
We don't usually do live streams, but we're going to do a special one to kind of plot out the whole year.
Awesome.
So we thought that'd be fun. In a couple weeks, we'll be doing our top 10 of 2019, and we'll be doing some YouTube, I think at some point, exclusives where we're going to really break down top 5s of each genre of the decade, top 10 films of the decade, do lots of crazy stuff like that. So that's be coming in the next few weeks as well. Once Matt settles in from his big move, he has he's changing physical locations, so it's going to cause some delays. So it'll still be fun. We'll still get some stuff out there for you.
Make sure to like the First Run YouTube to get all that quality content.
There you are. And go ahead and like and subscribe everywhere as well for Screen Fix Pod. Check us out on, as you said, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube. Do a search for The First Run. Scroll. Eventually, you'll find us. Go over to Apple Podcasts and give us a review. I will read it on the air, and it'll help other people find the show. And that's going to be it. JC, once again, thank you so much for joining us.
Are you sure?
I'm pretty sure. I'm about 65%, which is good.
It was a solid 99% for me.
Matt, so nice to meet you.
Yeah, it was very nice meeting you. Thanks.
Yeah.
So we're going to go ahead and take an extended break. I'm still going to be a little upset about the James Bond stuff. And then whatever. All right, fine.
Yeah.
Good night, everybody. Thanks for listening. We'll see you all soon.
Watch you spill your beans.